Welcome back to my series Uber Driver Tips and Lyft Driver Tips, where I give you Uber tips and Lyft tips to help you make more money, get higher ratings, and overall have a way better time driving for a Lyft and driving for Uber. This one is a staple, and that is doing the app bounce. Now, first off, I'll give you almost a beginning pro tip and then get into this pro tip, and that is sign up with both apps. I still am in shock when I talk to people who drive and they're like, oh yeah, I only drive for Uber or I only drive for Lyft. Sign up with both. It doesn't cost you any money. It's completely free to do. And in addition, in case you don't know, there's no quota. You don't have to have a quota when driving for Lyft or Uber. Just sign up with both apps. Now, in terms of this pro tip, getting into it, the app bounce, what I'm talking about, especially on peak nights, so let's say Friday and Saturday nights, is to have both apps open at the exact same time and bounce between them. The reason why is, let's say you're like, Mark, but in my area, and obviously this depends location to location, in my area, Uber pays more or Lyft pays more. Well, that may be true overall. You never know. Let's say on a Friday night, for whatever reason, let's say Uber is very common in your area. Maybe on a Friday night, on that particular Friday night, there's not that many Lyft drivers. The surge rates are super high and they're paying a good amount. Or let's say they're having some type of bonus that night. Well, then drive for Lyft. And even in the same night, even if you're like, well, Uber's paying more, I will still have both apps open. And I almost have, I'd say, 4 apps. I know it can be kind of chaotic, but this is a way to make a lot of money. I'll have the Uber app open, the Lyft app open, Google Maps, because obviously that's the best GPS in my opinion, and then some type of like music player, whether it's Spotify, Pandora, whatever the case is. And the second, let's say I get a ride with Uber, let's say it looks like a really good ride, I will turn off Lyft, or basically, say, or sign off Lyft, I guess is a better way to word that. Drive that ride for Uber. The second I'm done, I'll pull Lyft back up, sign back on, and what I'll do is I'll go back and forth and bounce between the apps to see which one is paying more, especially in that instance. Maybe I get a ride through Lyft that looks like a really great ride, I'll go with that one, and then I'll turn off or sign out of Uber. This is a great way to make a lot of money, and I know it sounds a bit hectic and chaotic, kind of bouncing between both apps. One important note, though, I have to say about the app bounce is bonuses. If let's say you're trying to get a specific bonus, whether it's that weekend or that week, whatever the case is, a lot of times both apps will have a certain clause that's an acceptance rate. Meaning, I'm making this up, you have to have 90% acceptance rates. So if you keep rejecting a bunch of rides, they will actually penalize you. And the last thing, and this happens more than you think, surprisingly, the last thing you want to have happen, like you're trying to get a bonus through Uber, you have both Uber and Lyft pulled up, a Lyft ride pops up, you accept it. The second you accept that Lyft ride and you go to Uber to, like, say, sign out, you get a ride through Uber. Now you cancel that ride, and because you canceled it, it's affecting your acceptance rate. Keep that in mind. Like, say if you are trying to get a specific bonus, just be cognizant of the acceptance rate overall, because I find, especially when I'm doing the app bounce and I'm running both apps at the exact same time, as you can imagine, I'm just trying to get the best ride possible. So a Lyft ride will pop up and I'm like, I don't know, close it out or deny it. An Uber ride will pop up, okay, that one's not bad, except sign out of Lyft, then I go and drive for Uber, I finish off the ride, pull Lyft back up, turn the app back on, etc., etc. I know this can be a bit chaotic and hectic, like I said, but this is a great way to make a lot of money, and you don't have to necessarily go back and forth between both apps, super aggressively, but maybe every so often, let's say, especially like I said on a Friday night, maybe after a couple hours of driving for Uber, just check on Lyft. See if there's any unique bonuses that maybe have popped up in that instant, or maybe see if there's any good surges or good surge pockets. If there's not, you close it down and continue driving for Uber. Do it more than you think, because I think a lot of drivers, and this is what I used to be like, will drive for Uber for, I don't know, a month and never even touch Lyft. Or maybe a couple weeks and never even touch Lyft. Honestly, check it as much as you can. Go back and forth and bounce between both apps as much as you can, because that's the best way to optimize your earnings.